Learning about Gemara. Today's daf is daf Samach, and it's Erev, the last days of Pesach. Still concluding the dinim of Eino. So the din is Ein Ma'arvin. The Mishnah is we started off Nun Tes of a base on the bottom. Ein Ma'arvin Pedis bePedis. Again, remember, you're not allowed to in any way do any behavior which is deceptive. So you're not allowed to mix Pedis. That if a balabas, for example, says, "I'm going to sell you fruits from a particular field in such a measure," you shouldn't mix it with fruits from another field. You don't have to say hadoshim b'yeshanim. You're not allowed to, for example, if I told you I'm going to sell you old wheat, you're not allowed to mix into their new wheat. And the reason is because old wheat is better because it's dry and therefore it makes better flour. But Rashi, however, holds that you are permitted to mix new wheat. You're permitted to mix old wheat into new wheat, because if the guy asks for new wheat and you add some old wheat, you're actually improving it. However, the Rosh argues, the Rosh holds it makes no difference because there's an advantage also in new wheat over old wheat, and that'll have a longer shelf life. So you're not allowed to mix it either way. And it's a machlekes rishonim. Then the Mishnah continues, "Be'emes amru." In truth, we tell you, and they want to say later what it means be'emes amru, but when it comes to wine, hitiru la'arev kosher. When it comes to wine, you are permitted to mix older, strong wine into wine which is not very strong. Strong wine improves the wine, so therefore, in this case, you're permitted. You're not allowed to mix the sediment of wine into wine, because again, it's pure quality, so you'll put it in. But you're allowed to give him the sediment itself. Sounds like you're allowed to even put it in the sediment, which is a stid from the beginning of the Mishnah to the end of the Mishnah. I want to explain later what it means. It was right. Right hand. He was right. If somebody, let's say, mixed water into his wine, he diluted it. Don't sell them because you're cheating. People think they're getting pure wine, and you're actually cheating. Unless you notify it. But you're not a simple merchant. Half a piece, even if you notified him. Why is he buying it from you? Because he plans to unsell it as wine, and he got a discount because there's some water in it, and he's not going to notify anybody. But he's the only reason why he's buying it from you is so that he can cheat other people. Mokum Shinogul has to mind behind. There's many of the places to actually do that. Until you're allowed to. Hatager Noitil Mehei Gronis. If you are a merchant, you're allowed to buy from 5 different granaries and mix them together into one big silo, because everyone expects you're a merchant. You buy for different people and you unsell it, so they don't expect anything different. Mehei Gitas from 5 different wine places, and you're allowed to put it into Pitem Echad. You're allowed to buy and put it all into one big barrel, one big vat. But as long as your intention is not to deliberately to mix it. In other words, spread a rumor that you bought from a very, very good quality wine place, and then you also buy from poor quality places and mix them all together. I have to tell you, the new one, let's say, cost 4. If the new one, let's say, cost 4 saw in a cellar, the Yeshanas Misholish and the old wheat, for example, Misholish is 3. So in other words, obviously the old is worth more. Of course, you're not allowed to mix new wheat into old wheat. Even if the Chadoshes cost more than the old ones, let's say the new ones are 3 saw in a cellar, the old ones are 4. Which means that the new ones are worth more. You're not allowed to mix, put new ones in the old. Why not? Because it has 2 different uses. People want old wheat so they can make better flour. That was all the truth they said. But yeah, you need to allow of kosher in wine. You're allowed to mix strong wine with mild wine with nation because it actually improves it. Here they say, Kob emes amru. Whenever it says the expression, the emes amru, in truth we say, halachi. I mean, that's the final halach. Amar Nachman said, we're talking about when did we say we're talking about the season when they press the wine, so therefore they all blend in well together. Once that season is over, every single wine has its own flavor, then it doesn't really improve one the next. So you shouldn't mix the two. But even though today they come out, like today the meaning is to mix all the time. I'm gonna pop. So how come you're allowed to mix it? Pop the yod because they know and they're moich. People know that people mix it into their mind. Ach, but about you come at Haman, he just follows up. Ach, the time of Achamati, bedover, anything which you can taste before you buy it. You usually taste the wine, so you know exactly what you're getting. So therefore, there's no issue that Michael are accepting it. You don't mix the sediment of the wine and wine. I will least shmara, but you put in there the sediment. What about Amrei Sheva arriving comes? So it makes sense. First you say, no, let's stir it and mix it in, and now you tell me that you're allowed to. If you tell me that what it says over here that you put in the shmar means that you notify them. How many 20 say it says at the end, don't sell to a store. Unless you notify him. Sounds like till now, if you don't notify him, the target not just talking about and the consideration at the beginning is I forgot the blame, you don't notify him. So what's going on? Are you allowed to stir the sediment? You're not allowed to. I'm going to be the Mishnah says you don't stir in the sediment means yesterday's sediment in today's wine. Or today's sediment to yesterday's wine. But the very own sediment of this particular wine is in other words, it doesn't mean necessarily yesterday's. It means different barrels of wine, sediment for one barrel of wine with the wine for another. That you don't mix. But its own sediment you're allowed to. Telling you, I'm going to give one wine to your friend. But that's own. So as we explained, it doesn't mean yesterday today. But if it's its own sediment of its own wine, then you permit it. Mishin is added my man. If you mix water in your wine, how is it going to show so store allocate to notify him. Rava Aisele Chamra Mechanusa. Rava, they once brought him wine from a store. Mozge, he mixed it, he stirred it, and he mixed it. And Tome, he then went ahead and he tasted. Lahavi Bosset. It didn't, the flavor wasn't good. He mixed water in it, tasted, he wasn't happy with it. He showed it the Chalusi, he sold it the store. He said, you know what, guys, sell it, I don't really want it. Abaye said, you should not give it. Once you mix water, you shouldn't give it to a merchant. Even though notified. The tea made you the I stir so much water, everybody knows. Everybody knows. So therefore, nobody's gonna be cheated because they always taste the wine and feel there's a lot of water in it. Because Rabbi used to mix either 1 and 2, a ratio of 1 and 2, a ratio of 1 and 3. And so if you can tell me the tough but why aren't we worried that maybe he'll add a little bit more wine? And then he'll mix it together and he'll sell it, so now he'll cheat because people won't realize there's so much water in it. In case if you were worried about that, ain't the double safe. And there's no end, then you can't sell him anything. How can you even sell him water? Maybe to storekeeper, maybe he'll use that water to mix it with wine. The only time we're worried is if I presented everything to him. I already mixed a little bit of water that people won't really notice that much, and they'll try to pass it off as pure wine. As you went further, we learn if you mix in a minute gets to mix in some water, you're allowed to. It's time to the macht to the shlish ulevir. It could be sometimes a ratio of 1 to 2, 1 to 3, or 1 to 4, depending on each locale what they do. This only works if it's benekit in the season of when they press the wine and so on. So then the flavors are not that strong yet, so they mix the water mixes well. Afterwards, it doesn't mix so well. Says the next mission, Peter says, a storekeeper should not distribute, toasted wheat or nuts to children. If Neshu Magilin lovers to try to entice customers to come to the store, he gives the kids all kinds of goodies. And the Chamim say that you're permitted. This is actually something we can learn about in the Bava second page, whether the laws of anti-competition, Sagas Gul and all that. The Chachamim say you're allowed to entice people to come to you. Then the next thing, don't drop the price. The Chachamim says, why? Because then you're cheating others. And the Chachamim say, Zocher v'toiv, on the contrary, you drop the price, great on you, because you're causing everybody else to drop the price because it's better for the consumer. Other laws, again, of the selling below cost, you have the anti-dumping laws, sales are above basa. Lo yavod esagresin divrei abishol. He said you're not allowed to go ahead and to you have to remove or to sort out some of the bad beans and divrei abishol. I think I'll explain why. And the Chachamim say that it's mutter, because the problem is that if he takes out some of the bad ones, he might overcharge for whatever's remaining left over. The Chachamim we're not worried. You only take the top off. On the bottom, I roll a rotten one that you definitely not do because you're deceiving people. So, you're just deceiving people. The aim of Farchasin, you're not allowed to beautify, let's say, a product that you want to sell. You're not allowed to beautify lois or odom, not a person if you're selling, let's say, a goy, or a behemoth, lois, a kalim, or a behemoth, or kalim, to cosmetically beautify in order to sell it for more than perhaps its true value. Doesn't matter my time I did a bonum. What's this for the bonum? He says, Anom I'm guzi. I am, he says, dividing, I'm guzi. I'm dividing nuts and va'at, and you are va'at, and you are poly. I'm dividing nuts, and you're dividing, let's say, prunes. Says anyway. So therefore, they're complaining. No, the guy says to him, "Who's stopping you from trying to entice the customers? I'm giving one thing, you can give better things." There's no law that says that you cannot compete. I'm giving incentive, you give you better incentives. So you can't stop me. That you shouldn't in any way drop the price too much. Because you're actually that you're causing here that everybody will drop their prices, and it benefits the consumer. And what will happen is that the general price, including the wholesale price, the import price, all the prices will come down. It's a chain reaction, and therefore everybody benefits from it. The low yava is like racing. You shouldn't go ahead and remove the racing. Racing another split piece of wheat. Give it a show. Chachamim say it's all right. Man Chachamim, who are the Chachamim Racha says that you're allowed to make it look better if it's quite obvious what you're doing here. We're not worried that you are going to increase the price and overcharge for the price, and therefore what you did is you just removed the pieces, and that's not considered behavior or no. Een vraag is wat ik heb, maar not één misharbetin as a behemoth. Says the pasuk that you're not allowed to be mishabet the behemoth, which means you're not allowed to make the behemoth's hair stand up. Because make the hair stand up, the behemoth looks bigger than it really is. Look, can you blow up the innards? The ain't shaying is a bossa b'mayim. If you're selling meat, you're not allowed to soak in water because you. But by doing that, it sort of changes the color a little bit and makes it look fattier than it really is. My aim is sharbitin. What exactly is my aim sharbitin? That they will put in the bean water and therefore it makes it swell and the hair stand up. And Zidam Rav Kana and Edith said to me that they would stand there and they would clean the hair and brush it and make it stand up. Either way, the idea is that you're not allowed to do any behavior except makes it look more valuable than it really is, and then you'll charge more. Shmuel permitted the mirmatuma. He allowed you to add like fringes, the sarbala to a garment. He said you're allowed to add to a garment, makes it look nicer. So again, these are things that are apparent. So nobody, you're not cheating anybody. He allowed he allowed them to go ahead and put starch onto different clothing. Rabba Shora Lemedic Tzrodi. Rabba allowed to stand there and beat the again the different materials to make it flatten and so on. It doesn't matter. You're trying to flatten it out to make it look thinner. The thinner the material, the more expensive it is. You're allowed to. Rabbi Shadul Tzlumeger, he allowed them to make it to decorate arrows on it. The Papa Bashmal Shadul Tzlumeger, he allowed them to decorate baskets on it. But not our mission says Amafas. You're not allowed to make it to beautify it. Like Shadul was able to enhance it cosmetically and for these people in charge more. Like I asked a question. The difference is whether it's new or whether it is old. New one you're allowed to, because all you're doing is really beautifying it. Um, and if they're prepared to pay a bit more because they see it, it's new and they're meichel. But if it's an old one, then they're trying to do deceptive behavior because it'll make it look newer, especially you just did a decoration recently, and they'll think it's newer than it really is. What exactly is it when you beautify a person? Here, there was this older person. The Osli went, he went ahead, had all his gray hair. He went ahead and dyed his head, was digging in his beard, and he made it look black so that he should look young. Osli made it up. He went to Rav Amalei, even buy me. Amalei, Rav said to him, "You aniyim." This is talking about the boy who wants to sell something that Canani. Rav said, "You aniyim b'nei b'sach." You should always pick Eden to work in your family. So I'm not going to buy it. Osli came to Papa Shmuel, came before the Papa Shmuel, and Zabni, and he bought him. And Yevachad one day, Amalei Ashkemaya, one day he said to him, "Do me a favor, give me some water." He started to ask him to do menial tasks. Also, he went ahead and he whitened his beard, he took away the dye from his head and his beard, and therefore he said, "Look, I can't do all these menial tasks." He realized he fell into a trap. He got an old slave. And he says that the Eved says to him, "Look, I'm older than your father. You want me to do all these menial tasks?" He made a comment about himself. Tzaddik mitzvah necklace. A tzaddik Rava is saved from his tzaddis. The Yava and someone else and I ended up buying this slave that I was fooled with. Hadan haloch hazav. This ends the dinim of hazav of now starts the dinim of now starts the dinim of Eiza Neshech. Eiza Neshech is a difficult pedic. It's all about the laws of usury, the laws of interest. We have Neshech and Ribis, two words the Torah uses to describe the Ribis, to describe interest. Neshech, it bites you, it hurts. And the Ribis and the Malva increases his funds. He lent you 100, he gets back 110. So he increases his funds. And that's Mahatayda. If you do it in the way of buying and selling, where I, prepay for something and I get it later, and as a result of that, I get a discount, for example. So it's Rabbanan. That's like interest. Why am I getting a discount? Because I gave you the use of my money until I get the object. So that is like a discount. That is Asim Rabbanan. However, we do have a concept where yeshli. Sorry. Another thing is if I sell you a saw of wheat and I lend you, give you a saw of wheat, and you're going to give me back a saw of wheat that you cannot do with the rabbanon, because what happens if the price of wheat goes up and you can give me back a saw? I made a profit. But if you had a saw of wheat at the time when I gave you the saw, you just didn't have access to it, and I gave it to you, it's as if you already gave it back to me. So if it goes up in price, it's my wheat that went up in price, so that's not a problem. Or if there was already a psikas hashah, already there was a fixed price out there in the marketplace, and so therefore the lender could have just gone and bought wheat straight away. So it's as if he already bought the wheat and then he increased in price. And even though you give back to me 6 months and the price went up, it's as if I already received it and it's all right. So then it's not us with Havan. So they give a Mishnah. Excuse me. So if you gave me money, prepaid me, and whatever it is, and I don't give you the wheat since the the guy could have went ahead and bought wheat straight away and given it to you. So even though I end up buying 6 months later and the price of wheat went up, and I'm giving you then the same wheat that the amount that we talked about, we made up. So, and even though I didn't give it to you then, I gave it to you later, and now it's worth more. And you gave me the money to use for 6 months. So it looks like I'm paying you interest, but because I could have paid you straight away, and there's a fixed price, we worked on a price that was already available at that time. We said $100, let's say, a bushel, and already that was the price at that time. And the meicher with that money could have bought that wheat, just paid you right back. So therefore, it doesn't look like you. Then the Mishnah Ezo Nesher time. What's the chiluk Nesher and Tarbis? Ezo Nesher, what's Nesher Hamal? The seller beheadin. And if I sell when you sell the for heidin, so I lend you a seller's 4 dinar and you pay me back 5 dinar. So that is considered ribis or neshech. So you pay me back more than I gave you. That you're biting. So saying chitin b'shalosh. So if I lend you to so chitin, pay back 3. That's outright ribis. Also, b'nei is biting. What's tarbis? Increasing the value. Amar but paid is then what? I increase the value of the payers. And the truth of the matter is, the mission talks about payers, but saving money. And in fact, what the Gemara wants to know the difference in neshech and ribis is case and how it works. Like let's say a dinner we're looking for is 25 silver coins. So you bought a kur of chitin with a dinner of the hashar, and that was the price. And that was the price. The chitin dinner, then it came time to pay back. Chitin now is worth 30 dinner, which you give it now. If he would give it back to the chitin, no problem, because the price already, let's say, was fixed. The hashar was fixed, so the Meicher had the money, could have just bought the same amount of chitin and give it back to him, and give him right then and there exactly what he asked for. So that's not a problem. But what happened was he then decided, you know what? Instead of paying me back, I'm going to tell the chita, give me my wheat, and give me back the wheat, so I can sell it. I'll make 30 because you'll give me back the same amount I gave you, and we made up. So, and I occurred, and then I will sell it and make 30. So he said, I will buy one with it. The guy says. He says, you know what? Let's treat as if the chitin is 30. I'm going to give you wine. And the problem is the yain, he doesn't have the wine. So now, even though he went through a sale, it looks like ribis. Says but the shavik lady was he dropped the example by ribis with the Torah of talking about a loan, and instead he talks about a case of rabbanon, which is buying and selling. Because the rice of the neshech, the Talmud says that neshech and ribis, my Torah is exactly the same. So if we want to give an example of ribis, we use paydas, which is a case of buying and selling rather than a straight up loan, which is only rabbanon. The Torah clearly uses 2 words, sometimes neshech and sometimes ribis. It says leisitin lebeneshech or b'marbis leisitin nachlecha. The Tizba, the Gemara then asks a question: is it possible can you find a case where you have neshech without ribis and ribis have neshech? Every case it bites because the money increases. Every case the money increases, it bites. But you know it's possible. How is it possible? Let's say if I lent you $100, $100 prutas for 100, and you have to pay me back 120, right? Which straight up biting. You only borrowed 100, and you're paying me back 120. However, there's Mikora, but remember the main currency was silver. Mikora came and maybe the first was 100 prutas was 1 silver coin. All the same came and now you pay me back 120 is 1 silver coin. So the money, the Malva is not receiving any more money or value than what he lent because he's getting the value of a danka. But nevertheless, it bites because you borrowed 100 prutas and I pay back 120. Neshech there is because you pay me more than you took. Or you didn't give me. And the tarbis leka, the lesser of acha. Danka is danka kashakum. You have danka lent and danka you took. So if he boss me kora, the beginning had a neshech tarbis and he boss me sevas. My neshech with tarbis is neither. So furthermore, tarbis below neshech hechdomi. How can it be a case of ribis on neshech? Either oiziv. They want to ask a question. You thought that neshech is what happens at the beginning of the time of the borrowing, and ribis is what happens at the time when you pay. But the truth of the matter is, they all happen at the same time. So if there's neshech, there's ribis, and if there's no neshech, if there's no ribis, because you tell me it's the same danka, then there's no neshech. I'm not buying it to you either. So they both come hand in hand. Vesu Tamlin Redom have to be Divas Danesh, Ido is maybe let's say he lent you 100 and you get back 100. Right, so there's no divas there. But Mekodakai maybe like the first 100 was silver coin. It was say maybe Chaimsha, but now 100 is worth less than a silver coin. So E Boston Mikod if you go at the time of when it was lent, Nosha didn't buy it at all. You pay 100 and back give me 100 frutas. And again, Gemara thinks that in this case here, there's no nesher because you gave me I lend you 100 frutas back, but there's ribis because the 100 frutas you pay me back now is worth more. Gemara said no, it doesn't. You don't split the times. It both happen at the same time. Either the time of the loan, or the time payment. Ebos and because of the time of the loan, and nesher will tarry. Neither ebos or slave was the time nesher will both. Elements of the rubber. E at the much of the nesher will tarry. It's a pass that one without the other. The chilkan only separated to tell you you're even two Avedas, two Labin. Okay, we'll stop here and we'll continue tomorrow. Have a good Yom Tov in Mitzvah.